Chapter 5. Nights at Ling's. The first night Orm stayed over at Ling's apartment, it felt like stepping into a world she had only imagined in quiet, shameful daydreams. Everything about Ling's home was precise, cold, controlled. The furniture was sleek, expensive, untouched by clutter. The bed, massive, draped in dark silk sheets, sat like a throne in the center of the room. There were no soft edges here, no signs of warmth. Except for Ling. Ling, who stood at the edge of the bed, loosening the buttons of her blouse with slow, deliberate movements, her sharp eyes fixed on Orm like she was already deciding how she would be used tonight. "Take off your clothes," Ling said calmly. Orm swallowed. There was no hesitation anymore. Not really. Not after everything that had already happened between them. Not after that night in the hotel, when Ling had taken something from her that Orm had willingly offered. Still, her fingers trembled slightly as she obeyed. Piece by piece, her clothes fell to the floor until she stood bare under Ling's gaze, waiting. Ling stepped closer, her hand lifting to tilt Orm's chin up. "Still shy?" she murmured. Orm shook her head quickly, even though her cheeks burned. Ling hummed, unconvinced. "Get on the bed." Orm climbed onto the mattress, her body already anticipating what would come next. She didn't need instructions anymore. She turned, settling on her knees, hands pressing into the sheets. Ling exhaled softly behind her. "Good," she said. That word alone sent heat spiraling through Orm's chest. Good. She wanted to be that, for Ling. Always. It became a routine faster than Orm expected. Nights at Ling's blurred together into a rhythm that felt both intoxicating and dangerous. Work during the day, submission at night. Ling would come home late, her expression tired but sharp, her presence filling the apartment with quiet authority. Orm would already be there, sometimes cooking, sometimes cleaning, sometimes simply waiting. Always waiting. Ling liked that. Orm learned quickly. Dinner would be served exactly how Ling preferred. Clothes washed, folded, placed neatly. The apartment kept spotless, even though Ling barely noticed aloud. But Orm noticed something else. Ling never stopped her. Never told her to stop acting like a wife. And at night, Ling took what she wanted. Sometimes it was quick, rough, a hand gripping Orm's hip, pushing her down onto the bed, onto the couch, against the wall. No warning, no softness. Other times it was slower. Ling would sit, legs spread slightly, and simply look at her. "Come here." And Orm would go, kneeling between her legs, hands resting on Ling's thighs, waiting. "Use your mouth," Ling would say, like it was nothing. And Orm would obey, every time, because every touch, every command, every moment Ling chose her. It felt like something more, even if Ling never said it. Even if Ling refused to name it. "Not that." Orm froze, halfway through adjusting her dress. Ling leaned against the doorway of the bedroom, arms crossed. "That's too short." Orm blinked, looking down at herself. The dress barely reached mid-thigh, soft and light, something she had picked specifically because she thought Ling might like it. "You said you like when I dress cute," Orm said, her tone careful. Ling's gaze sharpened. "I said I like when you look presentable." Orm's lips parted slightly. "That is presentable," she muttered under her breath. Ling stepped closer. "What did you say?" Orm hesitated. Then, softly, but not softly enough, "It's not like anyone else is going to see me." A mistake. She knew at the moment Ling's expression darkened. Ling's hand came up, gripping Orm's chin, forcing her to look up. "I don't like repeating myself," Ling said coldly. "Go change." Orm's chest tightened. For a moment she considered arguing again, pushing, testing, but something in Ling's eyes warned her not to. Still, a small, stubborn spark flickered inside her. "No," Orm said. The word slipped out before she could stop it. Ling went completely still. "Excuse me?" Orm's heart started racing. She had never said no before. Not like this. "I like this one," Orm said, forcing her voice to stay steady. You don't get to decide everything I wear. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Dangerous. Ling released her chin slowly. For a second, Orm thought she had gone too far, that Ling might actually... But then Ling smiled. And it wasn't a nice smile. Turn around. Orm hesitated. Now. The command snapped through her, and her body obeyed before her mind could catch up. She turned. Ling's hand came down sharply against her ass. The sound echoed in the room. Orm gasped, her body jolting forward. Another strike followed, harder. Did I say you could talk back? Ling's voice was low, controlled, but laced with something darker. Orm's breath hitched. No! Another slap. You're getting bold. Orm's fingers curled into the fabric of her dress. Quiet. Ling's hand slid up her back, gripping her neck just enough to hold her in place. You think because I let you stay here, Ling murmured, because I let you act like this, you get to make decisions? Orm's chest rose and fell rapidly. She didn't answer. She couldn't. Ling leaned closer, her lips brushing Orm's ear. You don't get to disobey me. Another strike, sharper. Orm let out a soft cry. Heat spread across her skin, pain mixing with something embarrassingly close to pleasure. Ling stepped back. Take it off! Orm didn't hesitate this time. The dress slipped off her body, pooling at her feet. On the bed, she climbed onto the mattress, her body already trembling. Face down. Orm obeyed. Ling followed, and this time it wasn't gentle. The punishment didn't end with the spanking. Ling made sure of that. Her hands were rough, deliberate, leaving no space for hesitation, no space for doubt. Orm was pushed, held down, spread open, every movement controlled, every reaction pulled out of her. Still want to argue? Ling asked at one point, her voice cutting through the haze. Orm shook her head weakly. No. Good. Ling didn't slow down. If anything, she got harsher. And Orm took it. Because somewhere between the pain and the pleasure, between the way Ling's voice wrapped around her and the way her body responded no matter what, she felt wanted, needed, even if it was only like this. Afterward, Ling always pulled away. That was the part Orm hated the most, the distance, the sudden coldness. Ling would clean herself up, adjust her clothes, return to that composed, untouchable version of herself like nothing had happened, like Orm hadn't just been beneath her, like Orm wasn't still shaking from it. That night was no different. Ling stood by the bed buttoning her shirt. Orm lay on her side, watching her, waiting. She didn't even know what she was waiting for anymore. A word, a look, something. Ling didn't give it. I have work early tomorrow, Ling said casually. Don't stay up too late. Orm's chest tightened. That was it? That's all? Orm asked quietly. Ling glanced at her. What else would there be? Orm swallowed. Say it. Say it. She forced the words out. Don't you feel anything? Ling's expression didn't change. I feel satisfied, she said simply. The words hit harder than anything else that night. Orm sat up slowly. That's not what I mean. Ling sighed, like this conversation was already exhausting. We've talked about this. No, you've avoided it, Orm shot back, her voice shaking now. Every time. Ling's gaze hardened. There's nothing to talk about. There is to me. Orm's voice cracked. Silence fell again. Ling looked at her, really looked this time. And for a brief, fragile moment, Orm thought, maybe this was it. Maybe Ling would finally... I told you what this is, Ling said. The hope shattered instantly. And what is it? Orm demanded. Ling didn't hesitate. You wanted to be used, she said. I'm using you. Orm felt like the air had been knocked out of her. That's all? She whispered. Ling didn't answer. She didn't need to. Orm laughed softly, but there was no humor in it. Right. She stood up, grabbing her clothes with trembling hands. Where are you going? Ling asked, her tone sharpening slightly. Orm didn't look at her. Home. Ling frowned. You're staying here tonight. No. The word was firm, stronger than before. Ling stepped closer. I didn't say you could leave. Orm turned then, her eyes bright with unshed tears. I didn't say you could treat me like I'm nothing. Ling's jaw tightened. You're overreacting. Orm let out a hollow laugh. Of course I am. She pulled on her clothes quickly. You get everything you want, so why would you care? Ling's voice dropped. Stop being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic, Orm snapped. I just wanted you to say it. Ling stared at her. Say what? Orm's throat tightened. You know what? Ling didn't. Or maybe she refused to. I'm not playing this game, Ling said coldly. Orm nodded slowly. Yeah, she whispered. I know. And then she left. Ling didn't go after her. Not that night. Orm waited, even though she told herself she wouldn't, even though she knew better. She still glanced at her phone, still listened for a knock, still hoped. Nothing came. The next day at work, Ling acted like nothing had happened. Cold, professional, distant. It hurt more than Orm expected. Every word, every glance that didn't linger, every moment Ling treated her like just another employee, it all felt like a knife twisting deeper. By midday, Orm couldn't take it anymore. She typed up her resignation letter, her hands shook the entire time, but she didn't stop. She printed it, walked to Ling's office, and placed it on her desk. Ling looked down at it, then up at her. What is this? Orm forced herself to meet her gaze. I quit. Silence. Ling's expression darkened. You don't get to quit. Orm almost laughed at that. Watch me. Ling stood slowly. This is because of last night? This is because of everything, Orm said. Ling stepped closer. You're being irrational. Orm shook her head. No, she said quietly. For once I'm not. Ling's eyes searched hers. For what? Orm didn't know, but she didn't find it. Fine, Ling said finally. If you want to throw this away? I'm not throwing anything away, Orm interrupted. I'm taking something back. Ling's jaw tightened. You'll regret it. Orm smiled sadly. Maybe. She turned and walked out. Ling showed up that night. Of course she did. Orm had barely finished pacing her small apartment when the knock came. Sharp. Demanding. Her heart leapt into her throat. She shouldn't open it. She knew that. But she did. Ling stood there, her presence filling the doorway like she owned it. Like she owned everything. Like she owned her. You think you can just walk away? Ling said, her voice low and dangerous. Orm swallowed. I already did. Ling stepped inside without waiting for permission. You don't get to leave me. The words sent a shiver through Orm. Watch me, she whispered, even though her voice wavered. Ling's hand shot out, grabbing her wrist, pulling her closer. Don't test me. Orm's breath hitched. I'm not yours, she said, even as her body betrayed her, leaning closer instead of pulling away. Ling's eyes darkened. Yes, she said quietly. You are. And then she kissed her. Hard, possessive, like she was proving something. Orm melted instantly. She hated that, hated how easily Ling could break her resolve, but she didn't push her away. She couldn't. Ling backed her up into the kitchen counter, her hands gripping her hips, lifting her effortlessly. You don't get to quit me, Ling murmured against her lips. Orm's fingers clutched at her shoulders. I'm not. Ling cut her off with another kiss. Rougher, deeper. You don't get to decide when this ends. Orm's chest tightened. Then what do I get to decide? She whispered. Ling didn't answer. She just pushed her further onto the counter. And took her again, right there, like nothing had changed, like everything had. This time felt different, not softer, not gentler, but heavier, charged with something unspoken. Ling's movements were sharper, more desperate, like she was trying to prove something, to Orm, to herself. Orm couldn't tell which. You're mine, Ling said at one point, her voice strained. Orm's eyes filled with tears. Then say it properly, she whispered. Ling stilled for half a second, then continued, ignoring it, like always. Orm broke. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she turned her face away. Ling noticed. Of course she did. Her movements slowed. "Why are you crying?" Ling asked, her voice quieter now. Orm shook her head. "It's nothing." Ling didn't accept that. She never accepted anything she didn't understand. "Look at me." Orm didn't. Ling's hand came up, turning her face back. Their eyes met. And for the first time, Ling hesitated. Orm's tears didn't stop. "I don't want this," she said softly. Ling frowned. "You were begging for it a second ago." "That's not what I mean," Orm whispered. Ling's grip loosened slightly. "Then what do you mean?" Orm took a shaky breath. "I don't want to just be used," she said. "Not like this." Ling stared at her, confusion flickering behind her usual control. "I don't understand." Orm laughed weakly. "I know." Silence stretched between them. Ling didn't move away, didn't pull her close either. She just stayed there, thinking. For once, really thinking. Orm wiped at her tears, her body still trembling. "I quit," she said again, softer this time. "Not just the job." Ling's jaw tightened. "You're not quitting me." Orm closed her eyes. "I already did." Ling didn't respond immediately, and when she finally did, her voice was different, quieter. "Stay." Orm opened her eyes. Ling wasn't looking at her the same way anymore. There was something unfamiliar there, something almost uncertain. "Just tonight," Ling added. Orm hesitated. She shouldn't. She really, really shouldn't. But, "Okay," she whispered. That night, Ling didn't leave the bed immediately. She stayed, not touching, not speaking much, just there. Orm lay beside her, staring at the ceiling, her mind racing. This wasn't how it usually went. Ling shifted slightly beside her. Then, unexpectedly, she pulled the blanket over Orm's shoulders. The small gesture made Orm's chest tighten more than anything else had. "Go to sleep," Ling murmured. Orm turned her head, looking at her. Ling's eyes were already closed, like she hadn't just done something that felt more intimate than anything before. Orm didn't say anything. She just watched her for a long moment. And then, slowly, she moved closer, carefully, like she might scare her off. Ling didn't pull away, so Orm rested her head against her shoulder and stayed there. For once, Ling didn't stop her. For once, Ling stayed the entire night, and for the first time since everything began, Orm wasn't sure if that made things better or worse.